We just got some crazy new Marvel leaks about Avengers Doomsday that I really hope are not true. New information about the Fantastic Four first steps and how much money it's going to make in its opening weekend, and a lot more Marvel news. So let's get into all of this. Let's start with the Fantastic Four first steps, because like I said, we have the first early projections and tracking for how much money this movie is going to make at the opening box office. And we all know the MCU needs a win because Thunderbolts, while being a good movie, did underperform and flop at the box office. Same with Captain America Brave New World. But now that ticket sales are live for the Fantastic Four first steps, the first tracking numbers are in, saying that the movie's projected to make around $125 to $155 million in its domestic opening weekend. And domestic, if you don't know, is just in the US alone. So to compare that to other MCU movies, that would put it in the range of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 that made $146 million in its opening weekend domestically, and that finished with about $800 million worldwide. And then Iron Man 3 and Captain Marvel made more, and they both finished over $1 billion. And for further comparison, the Thunderbolts only made $74 million in its opening weekend domestically, so this would pretty much double that opening weekend. So these are great numbers for the MCU, and of course the Fantastic Four are very popular. It was going to be more successful than something like the Thunderbolts, but I still don't know if this is going to hit $1 billion like those other films, even though it's opening in a similar range because of the overseas box office. Either way, it does look like it's going to be a bigger success than their recent films. Before we get to the Doomsday leak, the same insider, the Cosmic Circus, who has got a lot of things right, they announced a lot of castings for like the Guardians movies way before they actually became public. The first thing they said isn't actually related to Doomsday. They said that Marvel Studios is reportedly interested in bringing back Hela for an upcoming MCU project. Now, we just had other reports that Thor 5 is officially in development, and apparently a Hercules spin-off project, maybe like an hour-long special, are both in development. So one of those projects seems very likely to somehow bring back Hela. I just hope they don't undermine her death. Maybe make it so like she did actually die and this is like a new form of her or something. Getting into the Doomsday stuff, it starts off very obvious, saying like Anthony Mackie will reportedly have the leading role in Avengers Doomsday, which I think a lot of us really expected, but with most of these movies, there's not really a main lead anyways. Like, yeah, Iron Man was the lead of the Avengers films, but when you get cast as big as like Doomsday or like Infinity War, it doesn't really matter who the actual lead is because there's so many other characters, and we know that RDJ's Doctor Doom is really going to be the true lead of this movie. Go on to detail that Black Panther will have a supporting role on Sam's team in Avengers Doomsday, and Shang-Chi will have a bigger supporting role. So it seems like Shang-Chi's going to kind of be filling in the old Captain America like second fiddle role in the new Avengers. And from what they said in their full article, it seems like Black Panther's going to kind of be a smaller role, more like a Bruce Banner, Black Widow type of person in the first Avengers movie. That's kind of the comparable role they're going to have. The only concern I have is that we've never really seen these characters in a full movie like ever interact with each other. Like Sam Wilson's Captain America, Shang-Chi, and Shuri's Black Panther. I don't think there's ever been an interaction between these three characters unless I'm misremembering. Now, that's not to say that they can't be like a good team just because they form in Avengers Doomsday, because like, yeah, the first 2012 Avengers movie, none of these characters besides like Iron Man and Black Widow have ever even met each other on screen before, and of course they form a team because they need to, and it works. The reason I'm kind of worried it's not going to work in Doomsday is like the entire Avengers 2012 movie was built on this team forming to stop Loki, and they were the only characters in the movie. You had so much time to let them form a team and develop. Avengers Doomsday, we already know all the old Fox X-Men are in it, the Fantastic Four, the Thunderbolts, aka the new Avengers, are in it. It's gonna be like in an Infinity War scale of a movie, except even more characters and different teams you have to shift focus on, while again building up RDJ's Doctor Doom and presumably his first big appearance, unless we see him in like the Fantastic Four movie. And I just feel like ultimately Sam Wilson's new Avengers is gonna be the team that nobody cares about. I feel like people are gonna be more excited to see all the X-Men back and the Fantastic Four in an Avengers movie, and even the new Avengers and stuff, because they had a great movie together in comparison to Cap's new team that we haven't even seen yet. I do go on to say a little bit more info. We know that Nightcrawler is apparently going to be using his signature swords from the comics in this movie. And Alan Cumming, who plays Nightcrawler, was recently on an interview for The Hollywood Reporter, and I just thought this was kind of interesting. He said that I realized that after X2, I stopped doing these kinds of bigger blockbuster type films. I didn't do anything like that for years. He goes on to say that he purposely went away from kind of the big machine franchise type films, but he's glad to be back in this film. I'm not gonna lie, the paycheck probably sweetened the deal a lot. But this is the one Doomsday thing that I really hope isn't true, because apparently it's gonna explore the tense relations between Wakanda and Pelican even more than we saw in Wakanda Forever already. Now listen, I understand the MCU was probably heavily relying on Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther to be a huge feature in the MCU going forward, a huge member of the new Avengers, and have Wakanda at the center of things, and I think that would have been great. But unfortunately, he did tragically pass away, and I'm sorry, I don't feel like people connect to Shuri's Black Panther anywhere near the same level. I do think Namor was like a good anti-hero kind of villain in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but I don't think that movie was necessarily amazing, and I don't think it should be like a huge foundation that we continue the story on in the next Avengers film. I'm sorry. They did the best they could with the passing of Chadwick Boseman in that movie. It's not bad, but I don't think it's really that good either. Seems like Marvel's trying to get back to like the glory days of kids animated shows, because right now they're planning to put X-Men 97 and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on cable networks on FXX. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what channel that is. Of course, a lot of people in the replies are like, oh, how is this gonna help who watches cable anymore? But you have to remember, there's a whole other world out there of people that don't even watch streaming. Like Young Sheldon is like the most watched show in the entire world. That thing pulls in like Stranger Things numbers of like 15 million viewers an episode on cable networks. Like, I can't believe it, but that is a world out there. So if this helps these shows get more seasons, I'm all for it. But the real news that everybody cares about is Charlie Cox going on an interview on Jimmy Kimmel Live and talking about the possibility of hooking up with She-Hulk again in the MCU, because I guess this is the news we're getting now. You know, the way I think about it is that what happens in LA stays in LA, so maybe when I'm here in the future, maybe there's some possibility for a hookup. Why is this the only thing he's mentioned as a teaser for any future thing in the MCU? Like, you're literally filming Daredevil Born Again Season 2, and this is what you're talking about, Charlie Cox? He's such a troll. Drop a like on the video, and if you're craving more Marvel news, we got some new confirmation of a huge new character confirmed for Avengers Doomsday and lots more news in the video above me, so click that video, and thank you so much for watching.